Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Who says there's no drama during an international break? Me, normally. But this time round, doesn't seem to be the case. Lots of drama to unfold in today's video, alongside some other minor news as we slowly tumble towards the return of the men's team this weekend. Welcome back to the channel. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I feel like this is the first time I've sat down to record a video in ages. I've done a few live streams here and there. You can check out last night's on the channel. But there's not been a lot to talk about. There's not been a huge amount of news, so it's been a quiet sort of international break, as expected, until today. Because heads are flying. WrestleMania's this weekend, but for some, you'd think it was last night. A Glasgow kiss was attempted at last night's Glasgow derby between Celtics women's team and Rangers women's team. We're going to talk about that in today's video, but yeah, like and subscribe. Also press the bell, the notification bell, because we are going to be doing more live streams as we get towards the return of the men's side this weekend. So if you want to know when I'm live and you want to get the notification, make sure and press that big bell. So last night, some people are waking up with the fear this morning, and that person is Mr. McPherson, the Rangers women's team manager, who decided to take matters into his own hands last night after Celtic got a dramatic equaliser right at the death of the game, and decided to try and stick the heat on our manager, Fran Alonso. Derby madness, you know, it's been a long time. Sometimes I sit there and I say, I like a wee bit of aggression in the derby when it's called for. Last night's totally uncalled for, and Celtic have issued a statement in reply to said incident. Now, it's one that, you know, let's just get it off the straight away to start this video, off my chest and all the rest of it. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. If it was a Celtic manager, if it was the shoe on the other foot, it was Fran Alonso, I'd probably be quite embarrassed. However, it seems that the opposition are using this as one of their excuses as a trophy, since they've won barely any in the past year or so. So, yeah, I think it's embarrassing. Honestly, I feel kind of, you know what, part of me laughs at it. Fran Alonso handled it really, really well in the interviews post-match. He was very composed. He was pretty unfazed by it, you could say. But the fact you have to go to the extent to try and stick the head on the opposition manager because of a late equaliser, it speaks volumes about the character of the man in the dugout for Rangers. And it's one that I wish I could say I'm surprised at, but it has taken the social media world by storm since it happened last night and this morning. Let's have a look at Celtic's reply today. The spokesperson spoke on behalf of the club, so this is what Celtic said. They said it's a hugely concerning incident, with the statement saying, clearly, this is a hugely concerning incident, falling well below any acceptable standards. We understand the matter is now being investigated, and it will be up for all relevant authorities to take any appropriate action. And then Police Scotland put out their own spokesperson, and they said they'll be looking into the matter. They've received a report regarding an incident at Broadwood Stadium on the evening of Monday, 27th of March 2023. Inquiries to establish any criminality are at an early stage. So obviously Celtic not happy, rightly. We're going to have to wait and see where this goes. Listen, it's annoying because, and this is what I mean, I think that, you know, Craig McPherson should be humiliated in so many different ways for this. He should feel embarrassed. But one of the main reasons being, last night was a great opportunity and a great showcase for the women's game, which has now been overshadowed by his moment of utter stupidity, of bad sportsmanship, and having a sore arse after an equaliser. He's overshadowed everything what last night should have been. A massive game on Sky Sports for the women to go out and show the product that they have in the SWPL right now. This is a league that could potentially go down to the wire. All three sides at the top of the table still well within their chances of winning the league title. It is a little bit difficult for Celtic or Rangers to do so at this moment in time, but there still is a chance there. And last night was a showcase to show the entertainment at hand, to show the derby and the women's side of the game. And it gets completely overshadowed by some muppet who decides to stick the head on the opposition manager. And for me, that's a red neck of that. You couldn't mark it with a blowtorch. A former referee, Steve Conroy, he came out and said he should be given a lifetime ban for his actions last night. and obviously there will be calls for things as drastic. Listen, whatever happens to him is not going to change what happened last night. I'm personally not offended, but I just think it is unbelievably embarrassing for him, and it doesn't reflect well on Rangers either. I feel like if they want to make a statement out of this and they want to show that they're on the side of morals, then this is somebody who should lose their job, quite frankly. And listen, I don't wish for folk to lose their job, but if you're sticking the head in somebody, you know, I've seen people sacked for less in Tesco, let alone on the sidelines of a football pitch in a professional football game. You know, it's embarrassing. And listen, if Ange Postecoglou was to do that, or Michael Beale was to do that, you know, it would be blowing well beyond the media coverage this has got. But you'd look at it in the same light. You would still say it's embarrassing. It's totally unprovoked. That's the worst part. Look, listen, sometimes tempers flare in a football park. We've all seen it before, especially in derby games. And fists might fly, or things might happen that are a bit out of character, and that's because something's happened to escalate an incident. There, last night, nothing happens. The worst part is, your man here, McPherson, totally unprovoked, from behind as well, very cowardly. Very, very cowardly. It is, quite frankly, embarrassing. I would be mortified if I was a very close friend of Mr. McPherson, because you'd be telling him what an absolute arse you've made of yourself. Fran Alonso's gone around trying to shake the hands of both Celtic and Rangers players, and then the class act, sportsmanship, and Fran's always been a class act. I like Fran Alonso a lot. I think he holds himself very well, but he's a really respectable guy. And then you've got this clown coming up and hitting them from behind. So, yeah, it shows the gulf in class between the two, I suppose. But we'll see what happens with the incident. Aye, who said there's no drama, I suppose. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Fran, good on you, mate. Good result. If you are wondering, this is the league table in the SWPL right now. So, of course, that goal for Celtic was huge. Keeps them ahead of Rangers in the division, but obviously quite a task to go on and win that title. But we'll see how things unfold towards the end of the season. More headbutts, maybe. But, yeah. Some minor news. Well, I would say minor news. It's actually quite a decent bit of news. It's not exactly something to turn your nose up at. But anyway, some news that might go under the radar for you this afternoon, or yesterday afternoon, I think it was actually. Celtic have hired yet another scout to come into the recruitment department and bolster that, what seems to be constantly evolving department within the club. You know, it seems like there's news every other week about new people coming in, whether it be a high up role or lesser role. It seems to be something that Ange Postecoglou, Mark Lawwell, and also Michael Nicholson as well have really put effort into to try and improve and get better. Our recruitment's been fantastic over the past year or so since Ange Postecoglou's came in, and they just keep trying to improve it. Can't complain about that. So Celtic have recruited ex-Southampton scout, let me get the name right, Kevin Hamill. So Kevin Hamill, don't know anything about him. He's in the door. Let's have a wee look at him. Worked at Southampton for quite a while and actually holds a little bit of a connection with Celtic, you could say, because he was the scout who was apparently responsible for the big signings such as Virgil van Dijk, Victor Wanyama, Fraser Forster. I think this was one of the key figures in the recruitment of them at Southampton. So he's flipped sides. He's came here to do us favours rather than take away players, which is nice of him to repay us. But, you know, it's someone who gave Celtic a lot of money, I suppose. They were big transfers, of course, when you think about it. I think Van Dijk went for around, 10 million. Wanyama was about 12 million. Forster was about 9 million or something like that. The guy made Celtic a lot of money, to be fair, but he's in the door. We have recruited him. He's here to join us and join our recruitment project and making Celtic even better. Obviously, following on from the news about Joe Dudgeon, who signed for us earlier in the month, maybe last month. We spoke about it in the channel. So that's 2 scouts through the door in the past few weeks, and that'll be very interesting now to lead into this summer. We'll get to see what the situation is and what we're doing, and who comes through and who leaves. Of course, we are anticipating maybe a couple of big departures. Liel Abada is very touch and go at the minute. We've obviously heard there's interest in the likes, and pray to God none of them leave right enough, but we've heard that there's interest in Vickers, Starfelt, a couple of other guys have been looked at as well apparently. whoever does leave the club this summer, these are the kind of guys, Joe Dudgeon and Hamill here as well, who you're hoping will come in to be able to identify the correct replacements, and working alongside obviously Ange Postecoglou in doing so. So we are improving that. That's good. It's also, you know, I always like when you hear news about new scouts and new recruitment figures coming in, because it means that there's a freshness around the club. And it means that there's going to be changes and stuff as well. You know, it's not going to be the same old. And it means we're going to constantly evolve, and I like that. And obviously, with every new scout, there's a risk of a dud. You know what I mean? We don't know if it's going to go to plan. There's been duds that have came into Celtic. There's been great scouts, and that reflects on the players that we sign as well. But it does allow us to kind of expand our range, and it brings new knowledge in. So it's always exciting. So yeah, there you go. Mr. Kevin Hamill has joined us as a scout. And aside from that, not much else to talk about. The headlines have been stole with the actions of Rangers manager McPherson. And listen, that really does annoy me. I hope that Craig McPherson, you know, obviously comes out and apologises for what he's done. But at the end of the day, it doesn't take away from the damage that's been done. I mean, even Ali McCoist is on TalkSport this morning, I believe, slamming into him and everything, and that just shows it really doesn't reflect well on Rangers. But it just annoys me that he's took that spotlight away from the women who are going out and getting a very rare opportunity to be on the TV and show the derby from that side. So, yeah, that's basically took all the headlines. Not the most positive of stories, of course, but yeah, we'll be on the channel all week anyway, so hopefully we have more to come out and cheer us up a wee bit. So, yes. McPherson, you're a fucking clown. Like and subscribe. See you all next time.